Hello everybody, welcome back to Asura Psych. I'm Asura, and this is a bit of a new format for me, but I really just wanted to try recording like this to see how it would turn out, and we're just going to get right into it. So today we're discussing 5 myths surrounding the INTJ personality type, and if you've been in the MBTI community for even a little while, you'll have heard most of these, because the INTJ has a lot of stereotypes surrounding them, being one of the 2 rare types alongside the INFJ. So the first myth we're going to discuss today is that INTJs are judgmental or mean. And people tend to think of this because they see the J at the end of the INTJ personality type and they go judging, or J, judging, judgmental. And this really isn't the case because as an INTJ, an introverted type, they lead with their introverted function, which is intuition. INTJs are dominant introverted perceivers who prefer to shape their external world via judging, second to their introverted perceptions. What this essentially means is that INTJs tend to be actually far less judgmental than their INTP or ENTJ thinking brethren. An INTP is likely to judge something as immediately as it comes to them because they lead with that judging function, and ENTJs far more so because they lead with an extroverted thinking or extroverted judging function. INTJs are likely to perceive something first, process it a little bit, and then judge it. So the second myth we're going to discuss today is that INTJs are bad at reading people. And this one is true and untrue, because INTJs aren't bad at reading people. As dominant introverted intuitives, they actually tend to be extremely good at reading people. It's one of the reasons that you're not likely to be able to manipulate an INTJ. INTJs are bad at responding to social situations, because they don't have that extroverted feeling that the INFJ has. They are likely to only respond to situations that interest them in their field of thinking or intuition. If you can spark either of those, you're likely to get a lot of communication and discussion out of the INTJ. But if you approach an INTJ with normal social situation things like small talk, feelings, they're not likely going to respond and are likely not even going to know how to respond because they don't like to do those things or deal with those types of situations. So to summarize, the INTJ isn't bad at reading people. They're quite good at reading people. They're just bad at responding in ways that most people would see as socially normal. So the third myth is that INTJs don't have feelings. And this is an easy one to disprove, of course, because everybody has feelings. The INTJ, though, is the least likely type, in my opinion, to be expressive about their feelings. And this is what leads people to think that they don't have feelings. I would say that INTJs, just like everybody else, have a fair amount of feeling in their life. They just don't express it in ways that other people do. And the reason for this is because that introverted feeling is in the tertiary function slot. It is neither antagonistic or supportive to dominant introverted intuition. Think of the INTP, who leads with dominant introverted thinking. They have repressed feeling. If you get an INTP into a stressful situation, they're likely to respond with that feeling function. This isn't true with the INTJ. Next myth is that INTJs are highly organized. And this one is true in a sense, but it's that INTJs as dominant perceiving types aren't as organized as you think they are. INTJs tend to be very laid back and relaxed. They tend to be very open to new situations and scenarios, but they also judge and shape their external world just as much as they need to make sure that their introverted intuition can do what it needs to do. For example, I don't keep a calendar. I don't write down important dates. I keep it all in my head. Everything's up here. But I get things done when they need to be done. I never submit schoolwork late. I'm never late to work. I'm always early to work. But I just kind of barely make it. But I always make sure that things are done when they need to be done. I'm likely to schedule out in my mind when something needs to be done and when I'm going to do it. And as long as I've allotted myself that amount of time, at some point, it doesn't matter if I leave it till 1 or 2 days before it needs to be done, because I already know that I'm going to get it done. We're organized to the point where we need to be organized. If you took the INTJ and compared them to an ENTJ or ENFJ, they're very likely going to be much more judgmental and organized than the INTJ would. You can find a good example of this if you look at the houses of an INTJ and an ENTJ. INTJs are likely going to have like slightly messy houses, but not so much to a point where it's like an INTP where things are just scattered everywhere. But an ENTJ's house is likely to be clean, organized, spot on. 2 very different things. The INTJ keeps things just as organized as they need to be for them to function in a proper, efficient manner. So the last myth we're going to discuss today is that INTJs are know-it-alls or stubborn. And I don't think this one's true either, because in my opinion, as introverted types, or introverted intuitive types, they lead with that intuition. And intuition is highly correlated with Big Five openness, which is the ability to be open to new ideas. I think INTJs, at least I am, very open to new ideas. If you come to me and you're able to prove that I'm doing something wrong, I'm going to be the first person to admit that I'm wrong and be ready to move on and learn something new. I don't have time to waste when it comes to being wrong about something or defending my ego around situations like that. I want to learn something new and move on and make it better. And I think people tend to misinterpret the INTJ because INTJs are likely to be stubborn if you come to them with something that is wrong or inefficient objectively, something that they can either prove or think about in their head in a way that's not going to be as good as the way that they can think about it. Then they're likely to push back on your ideas. Because INTJs, as introverted intuitives, are likely to think very far ahead. They're likely to view the situation from a lot of different perspectives. And if you come to them with a perspective that you think is right, but you haven't really thought about it as much as you think you have, the INTJ is likely going to push back on you. All right, those are the 5 myths. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'm probably going to try more videos like this in the future. This has been Asura at Asura Psych. Have a good one.